Yesterday, 1,000 people died of the COVID virus in the United States. And 100,000 people were infected by the virus just yesterday. And the day before, another 1,000 people died. And the day before that, another 1,000 people died. The infection rates are rising all over the country. I mean, just a few weeks ago, they were falling. In California, just last month, restaurants began to serve people on patios and sidewalks. People were swarming to the beaches and the parks, and stores began to open, and some churches began making plans to have in-person services. Just last month, because infection rates were dropping, the state was talking about opening up the state. Just a few weeks ago, I felt the mood of the congregation was hopeful that soon, maybe not in July, but soon, maybe in August, we would have Sunday services in Portalhurst Hall. But things have changed. Infections have shot up, daily deaths have suddenly doubled. It's now estimated that by November, well over 200,000 people in this country will have died from the virus. And we are no longer talking about having Sunday services in this church this summer. Maybe not even in the fall. And this is just the first of a three-legged stool that we are sitting on. The economy has collapsed to the point that in April, the unemployment level rose to the highest level since the Great Depression. Now it's dropped some since then, but still 10 million people are out of work. Just last week, over 2 million people filed new unemployment claims. The stock market struggles. It seems like one day it sneaks upward and then it meanders down. The economy is at the point where Congress is talking about another stimulus bill to help the struggling economy, and it even has bipartisan support. And there isn't a change on the horizon for the economy. And that third leg, a scattered, even outlier movement, grew up in 2014 as the result of a shooting that killed Eric Garner by New York City police and Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Demonstrations popped up here and there, and they continued in somewhat like a random, even isolated manner for a number of years, until an 8-minute video of a man begging for air and dying because a policeman had his knee on his neck. And the Black Lives Matter movement exploded across this nation. And suddenly, outrage over racism grew throughout the country. There are marches and riots and disruption throughout the country, and President Trump is sending federal forces into cities. Now, he's sending them only to those who have Democratic mayors, for sure. But it's a dramatic move and shows the extent of the trauma that we're in. Trauma that is pitting Democrats against Republicans, for sure, rural against urban, old against young, citizens against citizens, parents against children. It would seem that there hasn't been this much division and disruption since 1968. It would seem that with the country struggling to right itself on this three-legged stool, it would seem that there's a gloomy picture ahead. It would seem that there is little place for hope. It would seem that way. Now, we cannot do anything about the spread of the virus throughout the world. We can't do anything about the spread of the virus throughout the rest of the United States. You and I can't turn the economy around. You and I can't change institutional racism. But for a moment, let's look at this little family that's anchored here, the corner of Terraville and Funston.